Abayivu abakuguka mu byobufuzi basabye ssentebe w'omukago ogwa Namu omujja Gen. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni okweyambisa obuyinza obwamuweeredde okulaba nga wassibwawo ekitebe eky'omukago guno olwo nno kiyambeko okulaba nga ebiteeso byonna ebyayisiddwa mu lukuŋŋaano lwa Namu bissibwa bulungi mu nkola. Dr. Paulo Lukuma omukugu mu by'okunoonyereza alaze obukulu obw'okussaawo ekitebe kino.
One of the reasons the non-aligned movement has not achieved a lot of its objectives in the last 60 years is the lack of a framework or the lack of institutional arrangement to follow up on the agreements which are signed by the representative head of states and heads of government. And it's our prayer, we the citizens of those nations that are under the chairmanship of the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, if a secretariat could be established, preferably an interim secretariat in Kampala, to follow up before members vote where the headquarter of the non-aligned movement could be. We could start from Kampala. I would implore the new chairman to put that as one of his agenda. It's easy to discuss things at strategic level, but following them up, the operational issues, the bread and butter of a system depends on bureaucracy, a very efficient bureaucracy, and we need to establish that bureaucracy.
Mu lukuŋŋaano lw'abakulembeze luno lumaze sabbiiti nnamba nga luyindira emunyonyo wano mu kibuga ky'eggwanga ekikulu Kampala, ensonga nnyingi ezaateeseddwako nga neeyasinze okussibwako essira lwe lutalo olugenda mu maaso wakati wa Isirayiri ne Palesitayini, nga wano abakulembeze abasinga baavumiridde nnyo ejjoogo lya Isirayiri era ne basaba omukago ogwa Namu okukola ekisoboka okulaba nga olutalo luno lukomezebwa bunnambiro. Pulezidenti w'ekibiina ky'amawanga amagatte Denis Francis y'omu ku baabadde ennyo ku mwanjo mu kuvumirira ebigenda maaso mu luwannanda olw'e Gaza.
After various iterations of war over several decades, I am convinced that a negotiated political solution is the sole path through which both Israelis and Palestinians will see realized their fundamental right to a life of peace based on the two-state solution. As President of the General Assembly, I will support and encourage any and all initiatives to that end.
Eyakiikiridde eggwanga erya South Africa mu lukuŋŋaana lwa Namu, Grace Naledi Panda, yasabye olukalu lwa Africa lukkirizibwe okubeera mmemba omujjuvu kakiiko k'ekibiina ky'amawanga amagatte ak'ebyokwerinda n'obutebenkevu olwo nno kisobole okuyambako mu kunogera eddagala ebizibu eby'enjawulo. Amawanga 5 agatuula kakiiko k'ekibiina ky'amawanga amagatte ak'ebyokwerinda kuliko Amerika, Russia, China, Bufalansa ssaako ne Bungereza, era nga bannamukago ogwa Namu bagamba nti kino tekimala kukiikirira abantu mu nsi yonna.
As this non-aligned movement, we should continue to advocate strongly for a system of global governance that is fair, equitable, and has the capacity to respond to the needs of all countries and peoples. A system that is not just a tool for the most powerful countries of the world. These reforms include our belief that the United Nations Security Council is in need of urgent reform. After all, it has the unique mandate for the maintenance of international peace and security and is not of a form that is able to exercise that mandate. We believe the Security Council should be expanded with urgency to include countries from Africa, Asia, and Latin America as permanent members.
Okuva mu mwaka ogwa 2025 Semazinga Africa ng'eyita mu mukago gwayo gwa African Union ezze esaba ekkirizibwe okubeera mmemba omujjuvu kakiiko k'ekibiina ky'amawanga amagatte ak'ensi yonna ekitannaba kukkirizibwa n'okutuusa olunaku olwaleero era ng'abakugu bagamba nti kino kiyinza okubeera ekizibu ennyo okutuukirira.
As you have to do, but once you get to the Security Council, the dynamics change, the whole dynamic change. We're talking about the Security Council, but the decision made affect economies, economically, politically, and in quite a number of ways. So if they can push for something and we attain at least maybe 10 to maybe even 20%, 15% of what they are pushing for, that would be a move in the right direction. But the way I know how the current members, certain members that I can't mention one by one here, remain in charge, the likelihood that we'll achieve it wholesale is most likely not going to come through.
The first global organization was the League of Nations, and it could not hold the world together. It collapsed, and then after the Second World War, we came to the United Nations. And then, of course, these countries positioned themselves as the top countries. But I can assure you, after over 75 years, things have changed. Countries have come up. There are countries that were not anywhere. They're so powerful. So are we going to perpetually deny them a position on the Security Council? I think the United Nations Security Council, or the United Nations as an entity itself, needs to metamorphose. It needs to grow from this stage with the current realities. The current realities, I'm not even advocating for in Africa. We could even have as many as 6 to 8 countries to join this club.
Omukago gwa Naamu gulimu amawanga agawera 120 nga kugo ebitundu 80 ku buli 100 ga memba mu kibiina ky'amawanga magatte.
And again, therefore, this organization called NAM realized that there could be benefits for not aligning yourself with either the East or the West. And of course, being a number of countries, 120, had a voice. And that voice is very relevant in an organization like the United Nations. And therefore, you can see that NAM translated or transisted from focusing on anti-colonialism movement to a development movement within these countries.
Omukago gwa Nani Aligned Movement Naamu mbufunze gwatandikibwa mu mwaka gwa 1961 n'ekigenderero ky'okulwanirira ensonga eziruma amawanga ga Namukago omuli okutumbula ebyenfuna, enkulaakulana n'ebirala ebigwa mu kkowe eryo. Nze Bukenya Ibrahim ne Saddam Mubale.